In this video, we will learn about the ongoing Sudan crisis. First of all, let us look at the location of Sudan. Sudan is a country in Northeast Africa. It shares its borders with several other countries. To the north, there is Egypt. Moving east, you will find Eritrea. To its southeast, there is Ethiopia, while to the south is South Sudan. The southwest is occupied by the Central African Republic. To the west lies Chad, while the northwest is bordered by Libya. Before 2011, Sudan was the largest country in Africa. In 2011, a referendum was held in Sudan on whether to get separated from the southern region. The referendum resulted in the formation of a new country, South Sudan. This resulted in Sudan becoming the third largest country in Africa after Algeria and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Sudan's capital and largest city is Khartoum. Sudan has a diverse landscape that includes deserts, mountains, and fertile plains. The Red Sea borders the country to the northeast, and it holds a great significance for Sudan due to its economic and strategic importance. Sudan's access to this crucial waterway is vital for the country's ports, tourism industry, and fishing sector, as well as its regional security. Although Sudan possesses valuable natural resources and a strategic location, it has been facing persistent challenges such as political instability and civil war. Sudan was a British protectorate and gained independence in 1956. Since its independence, Sudan has seen more than 15 military coups, with only brief periods of democratic civilian governance. So Sudan has a long history of conflict and political instability. Moreover, Sudan is situated in a volatile region. Several of Sudan's neighboring countries, including Ethiopia, Chad, and South Sudan, have experienced political turmoil and conflict. Now, having prepared a basic background, we will be in a better position to understand what's going on in Sudan presently. If I have to tell you about the present crisis, then in simple words, Sudan's military and paramilitary forces are fighting each other. Sudan's capital city of Khartoum and the Darfur region are among the most impacted regions. Now, the main players in the conflict are two military figures, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemeti. Burhan is the commander of the Sudanese Armed Forces, or SAF in short, and Dagalo is the head of the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF in short. Currently, the military and paramilitary headed by these generals are engaged in a conflict with one another. But there was a time when the military and paramilitary forces of Sudan worked together to capture power. In 2021, Sudan's military and paramilitary forces jointly overthrew the then civilian government through a military coup. Since the coup, Sudan has been ruled by a military government. SAF and RSF can be understood as two rival factions of this military government. As we have seen, Burhan is Sudan's de facto leader and military head, or SAF leader, and Dagalo is the leader of Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF leader. The two generals who had collaborated to carry out a military coup are now locked in a struggle for power that is causing turmoil in Sudan. The relationship between the two generals goes back a long way. For this, we will have to talk about the conflict in the Darfur region. Darfur is a region in western Sudan that has been the site of a long-standing conflict since 2003. The conflict was initiated by non-Arab rebel groups who were fighting against the government. In response, the government armed and supported Arab militias known as the Janjaweed, who carried out a campaign of ethnic cleansing against the non-Arab population in Darfur. Both the current rival generals, Burhan and Dagalo, played key roles in the counter-insurgency against the Darfuri rebels during this time. Burhan rose to control the Sudanese army in Darfur, while Dagalo was the commander of one of the many Arab militias known as the Janjaweed, which the government used to brutally suppress the largely non-Arab Darfuri rebel groups. This resulted in the displacement and deaths of tens of thousands of civilians, prompting the international community to impose sanctions and establish a UN peacekeeping mission in the area. So now that you know about their past, let us come back to the present conflict. What led to this clash? See, we know that Sudan was being ruled by a military government. The conflict began when a plan for a civilian-led power transition was proposed, which required both the military and paramilitary to relinquish their power. The military was to be placed under civilian oversight, and the paramilitary was to be integrated into the regular armed forces. RSF insisted on a time period of 10 years for integrating into the regular armed forces, whereas the military wanted it to be done in 2 years. There were also issues over the status given to RSF officers in the future hierarchy. Another point of tension was the transfer of military-owned assets in sectors such as agriculture, trade, and other industries, which provide significant power to the military. Basically, there were clashes over authority over sectors of Sudan's economy that are controlled by these two rival factions. A further point of contention is the accountability for alleged war crimes committed by the military and its allies during the conflict in Darfur from 2003. All of this led to a power struggle between the two factions that has only added to the instability in the region. The clashes between the two military groups have led to a potential for a nationwide civil conflict. Currently, there are intense battles happening in various parts of Sudan, and the sounds of explosions and warplanes can be heard. Individuals from different countries who are stuck in Sudan are living in fear. India is on its way to evacuate over 3,000 Indians, including some members of the Hakki Pikki tribe from Karnataka, who are stranded in the country due to the conflict. In addition to the Sudanese government, the Ministry of External Affairs and the Indian Embassy in Sudan is maintaining regular communication with the United Nations, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and the United States, among others, in order to secure the safe evacuation of Indian nationals who are stranded in Sudan. Let us also talk about the involvement of foreign players in the conflict. Egypt is backing the SAF, while the RSF is being supported by the Libyan National Army. Also, the United Arab Emirates and the Russian paramilitary Wagner Group are allegedly involved in business deals with the RSF. There is one more thing. Russia sees Sudan as an important ally in the region, given its strategic location near the Red Sea and its potential as a source of natural resources. Also, Russia wants to counterbalance the influence of other countries such as the United States and China in Sudan. In 2017, Sudan's then President Omar al-Bashir signed a series of deals with Russia, which included a plan for Russia to establish a naval base at Port Sudan on the Red Sea and deals for gold mining concessions. There are reports claiming that Russia has been providing military assistance to Sudan, including training and equipping Sudanese troops. Of course, the United States wouldn't like the growing Russian presence in Sudan. Some people even believe that the internal friction within the country's security forces has something to do with the Russia versus United States tussle. Sudan persistently faces many challenges due to economic and political instability. The present situation is intense. The generals have a difference of opinion regarding the transition to civilian rule in Sudan. There are plenty of reasons for these former allies turned bitter enemies to not back down. Ethnic tensions, religious disputes, and competition over resources have resulted in a number of conflicts in Sudan. Presently, the ego clash between the two generals is proving a major roadblock to the Sudanese transition to democracy. Ending this vicious power struggle in Sudan is important for the well-being of its citizens, the stability of the region, and the promotion of peace and prosperity.